just hope everyone can see this. Again, I'm Tom Mulroy. My partner, Joe Gaudio, is sitting over there. As he mentioned before, he's a graduate and lifetime resident up till the last 20 years or so at Hyde Park. I was born and raised in New York as well. I go way back in this New York from 1963, but my father was involved with the tourism business way back. He grew up in Brooklyn, and he actually started the Tourism Advisory Council under the governor way back in the late 70s, early 80s. So I have a tourism background, although I somehow defaulted into real estate. Joe is one of the original partners that was involved way back when, before I got involved. I've been involved with this property for about 4 years. And actually, as I got involved with it, I really took it as a personal project. I spent so much time on this project because it brings in a lot of things that I like. It's in my backyard in New York. It's a tourism based. It has a culinary base to it. It's a Hudson Valley base. It really brings a lot of things I have interest and hobbies in. And it's nice to see everyone here, and I thank you for letting me have the platform for a little bit to let you know what we're thinking about doing here. And thank you, Aileen, and thank you, Michael, for all your time over the last few years and giving me your input and how we can try to mold something that this town hopefully will like. Let's see, where's the clicker? There you go. Thank you.
Hold the mic a little closer.
You want to hold this closer? Okay. Seems so formal here. Usually I never get accused of not talking loud, so I don't know if I'm talking too loud. A little about T-Rex. We started T-Rex back in 1999. We all had institutional backgrounds, left New York City in banking and so forth. Decided to get into the real estate game on the private side. We have projects all over the country. We've had as far west as Colorado. We've had Ohio, Texas, Florida. We mostly have things now because we had exited the market back in 2005. Most of our investments are on the East Coast right now, probably because of my lack of wanting to travel all over the country. And we mostly in the New York metro region, the DC metro region, Virginia, and Florida. Let's see. This project we're talking about, I don't know if you're all familiar with it, but it's 340 acres across from the CIA. My guess is you know this project better than I do. I've been involved for 4 years, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. The first part of the presentation, which was put together by Focus Media, was on the project. So I'm sure you know a lot of this. So I'm going to go a little quick in the beginning, and then we'll try to catch up at the end with what I think you guys will be interested in. The first phase of the project that we're anticipating, with hopefully Aileen and Michael's blessing, it will be about $95 million. It's going to involve 2 hotels, a higher-end boutique hotel of about 110 rooms, and a mid-level hotel of about 140 rooms. It's really a tourism-based project, especially the phase 1. That will be what really ignites this site. We have a lot of obstacles hurdles to get through, such as the sewers, the wastewater treatment, and so forth. But we're slowly making progress. Hopefully, with everyone's support, we'll overcome a lot of these obstacles. It's not been an easy one, but nowhere upstate is always easy. But that's why it's probably one of the nicest states in the country, and I've traveled to all of them. I also, as by way of background, I used to own the Whiteface Lodge up in Lake Placid for a few years, which is a beautiful lodge if anyone ever had been up there. It looks like it was built about 15 years ago, but it looks like it was probably built 150 years ago. It really fits into that area. So I have been involved in a few things in New York, upstate New York, I should say, as well. So as I mentioned before, we're going to start with 2 hotels. Because what we did is in the last 4 years, I really spent a lot of time with Joe, who grew up here, to really understand what is needed here. I'm also on the Governor's Tourism Advisory Council, so I see what really the issues are from a statewide level, because it really doesn't have, you have great assets. It's now being communicated correctly. I think the governor's done a great job in backing the tourism board and in the industry to really get the I Love New York program going and make it cohesive and really get the word out. That upstate New York is not, when you talk about New York, it's not just New York City. There's a beautiful part of it that, the people from the city and the visitors to the city really have to come up and see. So what I got out of all my meetings, and I've had about 125 of them, if you can imagine that, in 4 years with all local people and businesses, is they need hospitality. And there is nothing really for the main drivers of Hyde Park, which have great assets here, but there's not a lot of places to stay that really could drive a regional tourism base. We're going to also plan on a 15,000 square foot conference center. We hear there's a number of weddings that currently get turned down, close to 200 a year that get turned down between all the different major tourism spots, including the CIA, Marist and what have you, that they just don't do it for whatever reasons, but they also don't have facilities for people to stay over. So I think that's I think great news, because that's one segment of we're looking at that is currently not here, that will be here. And we're looking at a 15,000 square foot spa, and then starting as phase one is about 48,000 square feet of retail, but it's more experiential retail. It'll be a bakery, a wine shop, or what have you, coffee shop, and 40 loft apartments up top that would be a variety of uses. And hopefully the construction of a sewage treatment plant, so we know what to do with our water. As I mentioned before, the first hotel will be, we're looking at anticipating a 110-room signature brand, when I say a boutique hotel. When I say by that is we'd like to keep the boutiqueness of the Hudson Valley. We don't want to come in and just put a Marriott or a, sorry, I know you're Marriott, or a Hilton, the Hampton. But having said that, we are planning on putting one of those brands as our backbone reservation system, whether it's Hilton or Marriott. We're in discussions, or it could be a number of other ones, but those are the two that are very eager to try to be part of it. But when I say a boutique Hudson Valley, it could be the Aileen Rohr Hotel, it could be the Michael Dupree Hotel, it could be the Herb Sweet Hotel, but it'll have the backbone reservation system of a Marriott Autograph, which allows them to do worldwide marketing to drive the people here into this high-end boutique hotel. The Whiteface Lodge, people didn't know that was really a major brand. It was a local gentleman built it, and it was a beautiful hotel. We ended up getting involved, and it was part of the leading hotels of the world brand, which is over 400 hotels around the world, and they all drive each other to cross-pollinate. So it doesn't give the massive, brand of being a massive national chain, but you get the uniqueness of being a nice local brand. I didn't do that. All right. The second hotel we want to do, and I'm sorry, the higher end one would really be for a current demand that's not here right now that we want to serve. There's a lot of people that come from different areas around the country that want to stay, but there really is not a quality that they want, and they're used to a certain quality. For instance, there are people that are paying $3,000 or $4,000 a week or a weekend to take cooking classes at the CIA, and they're staying way down in Poughkeepsie, 5 miles away. So there's board meetings that are currently not happening in this area that will bring people in to have board meetings here. There's a lot of uses that we think will be able to drive into this area by having this higher end hotel. We wanted to keep it somewhat modest of 110 rooms, but yet that's not big enough to focus on a massive amount of summits or conferences that potentially could come here as well. So but you also don't want to build a 200-room high-end hotel, because there's a balance and an optimal mix. So we decided on a second hotel to be a mid-level, mid-market hotel, sort of like a Hilton Homewood Suites or a Marriott Residence Inn, that would really capture the select serve market, which is more of the day-to-day market that had nice, clean, well-received hotel, great rooms, and the extended stay version of it, because we're trying to not build a courtyard or a garden inn, which will just be overnight stays. We're trying to get more of an extended stay hotel, which is a Residence Inn as well as Homewood Suites. They're nice brands, I'm sure you've all heard of them, but those are the levels of hotels. We haven't negotiated to a final point with either one of those brands, but we haven't selected one yet, but we are talking very heavily, and we're getting a lot of strong interest from both of them. It's actually nice because they're actually fighting with each other to get here, so it's a nice dynamic in today's market. So the second future phases, that was the first phase. We'd like to get and ignite the site, and I think that'll create a lot of buzz. The first part of it would be, the second part would be residences, village townhomes, cottages, and what have you. These aren't going to be the big McMansions and what have you that some of you guys have seen in some of the developments in the region. We're We're going to try to keep it within a village style. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the website. You'll see generally some concepts and vision on the marketing side, what we're thinking of. But we're really focusing on phase one right now, and that's really hospitality and tourism. And that's really, the second phase, depending where the market is, that could be 4 years out, it could be 8 years out, depends where the market. But the first phase is ignitable today, and the markets are here today, and I think it'll really drive a lot of tourism business into this local region, because you have the assets. It's just there's not a major place where they can actually stay and enjoy staying in multiple days. In fact, as you know probably better than I do, most people go to the CIA, most people go to the FDR, and they come and they go, and in one day. They're not spending a lot of money in anyone's town here. So, you have to lock them in, not only take the existing demand that's coming here, and between the two of them, they're probably over 500,000 visitors a year that are going to just those two locations, and they're coming and going. They're bussing in, bussing out. I'm sure you guys know this better than I, but based on all my reports and what I've seen, it's shocking that someone doesn't lock onto them, pop the tires in the bus, and just keep them here. But I think these hotels will really be a first step in doing that, and we're gearing it towards the extended stay hotel so we can keep these people here a little longer. And on top of that, I think by these hotels being built, especially the high-end boutique, it's going to drive a lot of people that are currently not coming here as well. So I think exponentially you'll have increase in visitorship, as well as when they come here, they're not going to come in and out for a day, they're going to stay longer. So I think that's really the main theme of phase one is tourism and culinary tourism and what have you, which is also one of the governor's main themes on what he's pushing in the state. This is just some facts. Again, I'll blow by these if you have any. If you want me to stop, let me know. We were going to do a Q&A at the end. I think John allotted some time for then. So again, it's culinary based, Hudson Valley based, farm to table. Again, I don't know if anyone's seen the website. It's Belllefield Hyde Park. .com. I need the vision document. Gives you a general view of our theme of it. This is where I think you guys are going to be more interested. As I mentioned before, the main key here initially is to get it built and approved. Once we get it approved and built, initially we'll have according to all our reports, over 500 construction jobs, and ongoing we'll have over 350 full-time permanent jobs on site. It's projected to generate over $4 million annual spending outside of the project, and creating 37 additional jobs in the community. This was done by Hotel Leisure Associates. They're a fairly sizable and reputable firm that does feasibility studies, economic impact reports, and what have you. So I'm not just making this up. So. Again, we're looking to accommodate the 1 million people that drive by and stop in either Marist or CIA or FDR or Vanderbilt or everywhere else, accommodate them so they can stay longer and convert the day trips into multi-day trips. So I think that is really the main goal of the first one. These are some more facts. 25% of the goods and services will come from Dutchess County. Almost $1 million of spending in the community in the first year, and a lot of these I can get the facts of the report through Aileen and Michael when the time is right. If you want, we have all the reports here, but I only have one copy. We think generally it will, according to the report, it will generate $200,000 a year in annual taxes. We're not tax exempt. A few people have said the CIA. We're not the CIA. We are going to leverage, their obvious major draw in the area. They bring in almost 300,000 visitors a year, but they come and go. So we're going to leverage off of that. We'd love to, have a working relationship with them, but that doesn't mean we're tax exempt. We are paying taxes, and I think our firm's paid well over $1 million in taxes in 4 years. A lot of it's water. We haven't used any, but it's there. So we're not, because a lot of people think we're tax exempt or an extension of the CIA. I want to make sure we are expanding your tax base, and we'll be paying taxes like everyone else. These are some of the other factoids that are there. Aileen, I'm sure you'd like to see some of those numbers there. So that's it on that. I mean, and in a nutshell, I think you'll see really when these hotels are built, I've spent 4 years now, and I've really taken a personal interest in this project, as I mentioned before. I've talked to, whether it's Marist, CIA, FDR, everyone in town, even all the way up to the state level and on the tourism board level. And this is such a major dot on the map for New York State. And it's such a glaring, obvious issue. Where are people staying? I mean, before I even sit down with the meetings, whether it was Lynn at the FDR or Tim at CIA or Dennis at Marist, they're like, we need hospitality, more of it, and better quality of it. So this is not a new, I'm not just coming out of, being so smart and I just discovered this secret that no one knew here. This is something that is obvious, and I think it's a good fit. And it's a good fit from a number of levels. It's really a win-win. It's going to help existing businesses here, including yourselves, generate more visitors, more business, but it's also going to keep the people here that are currently here and currently going here staying longer. So, we've had reports and reports. We've had the big hotel companies come in, and I think they really validated where we are. I think we're going to outperform the projections that are in the hotel's feasibility studies, but we're just going to go with the baseline numbers, and they're pretty impressive. And the Hampton and the Marriott's, and they I'm sure know what's going on because they like this area. So I think we all want to help support you guys, and hopefully we can together get this project done. It's not an easy lift in New York State. Developing in New York State is not easy, but it's something that I think it's a real need here, and I think both from the governor down to Aileen and everyone in between is really pushing forward to do something good here. So, and we are too. So, having said that, I'd like to bring Joe up also. He's the longtime resident, and he's probably better at the Q&A than I am, especially on big issues. So I'm going to pass the microphone over to you.
What do we got?
Yeah, just hold it close to your
mouth. First off, I'd really like to show my public acknowledgement to Tom for getting involved in this project. As Tom has mentioned, I've been kicking the tires here for about 8 years now, and I can tell you in 2010 it was a pretty lonely feeling, with your pockets turned inside out, and not the easiest venture to recruit someone with amazing enthusiasm and capital, and I'm very grateful, and I think the town of Hyde Park will be as well by time we're done here. So, with that acknowledgement, going forward, we're gonna pick up where we left off. There's a lot of good work that's been done. There's a lot of things in place. At the same time, I think there were aspects of the existing approvals that were far-reaching, unrealistic, even in the best of times. So as we rededicate our efforts here, we want to do it with both feet on the ground. And this property, the objectives of it from the town's perspective, to generate tourism and to expand the commercial tax base. And that's exactly what the primary focuses will be. There's a lot of different elements of it, and I think there's probably a lot of different perspectives. And so, maybe at this point, open it up to some questions and, see if we can share some additional light.
And do repeat the question.
Okay. Yes.
I don't think we should stand there and try to convince anybody in this room. This is something that we need. I want to know when you're going to start.
Thanks. We started yesterday. So what we've done is we have just submitted an amended concept plan to both the town board and the planning board for some feedback. What that phase one plan is looking for is, again, what Tom just outlined in the hospitality components of it. So that process has started, and then we'll get to what we need to do first or next is to amend the concept plan and literally pick up where we left off. We have some work ahead of us there, but it's very cooperative. We're getting with the leadership of the town, so we're optimistic we'll get through that quickly, and then we'll do our Phase 1 site plan application, hopefully by the end of this year.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very exciting, and I guess it brings up a lot of fun questions around the hurdles that you've already alluded to, such as sewage and wastewater. How are you overcoming those obstacles, and do your plans involve other parts of the town at all?
The infrastructure elements of a very large project like this are significant, and they all need to be front-loaded. We recognize the Route 9 corridor of Hyde Park has a strong need for wastewater treatment facilities, as well as our project. And what the current thinking is rather than one very ambitious sewer project, that there would be a series of smaller distributed sewer projects. What we're going to do on our site is we're going to locate the wastewater treatment facilities exactly where they were originally intended. Candidly, the challenge becomes trying to get the sewer collection system from, say, the Vanderbilt property to the north to St. Andrews Road on the south. Not only the engineering challenges of that, but the economic ones. How can you run something that distance and have it make sense for the user? So we don't have the answers for that today. We're going to pick up those conversations with the town and come up with some creative solutions. But we recognize the need. We have spent a considerable amount of time doing what's referred to as a CFA application with the state of New York, seeking dollars for that infrastructure. We should get some feedback on that in September or so, and we'll have some answers. But even in conversations with John Coppola the other day, he reinforced, even from his business's needs, the importance of that infrastructure. And so it's something we're going to be spending a lot of time on. Thanks. Yes.
The culinary is a great draw, but my problem with them is that they're closed in July, so everybody coming in to see an attraction, they're closed, number one, and they're closed on Saturdays and Sundays. So when people are coming in, they're disappointed. There's nothing to see there. Number two is that the park service and so forth, they were telling us that a bus comes in, every bus has a $10,000 fee, not a fee, but they spend $10,000 in this community. They don't. They spend it right on the park service. The bus pulls in, leaves north to south. Don't even spend the money here. So there's two tourism things that we're not getting any money from at certain times.
You can help with.
Yeah, there's a couple of elements to that. As it relates to the culinary, I mean, my personal view on that is the institution is an amazing asset for the town of Hyde Park. With that, we recognized the challenges that, to your point, where visitors are coming and going, and also the tax exempt issue. We recognize in some respects that we are guilty by association, given our proximity to to their campus. But we were up there 3 weeks ago, and it was just an amazing day, what was going on in that campus, between a symposium with Harvard Medical. I would guess there were 300-400 people there. A dedication to the new Student Recreation Center. Amazing assets, hundreds of people on that campus. To your point, they spent the day, and I'm sure they all left. And I think our project is going to be specifically designed to complement and to fill that need, to get people to hang in here a little bit, more than a day or 2 days, because you're spot on. And the culinary restaurants are great, but they're not really designed. They're student restaurants. They're not designed as full-time facilities. And so, we're going to work in collaboration with the culinary, but I know the real hot button that we need to address is the underlying, tax issue. And as Tom mentioned, it's, we've paid $1 million in basically water taxes over the last 4 years. We have not used a drop. So we think we can stand here with credibility, and we're doing our share. And we're certainly recognize the issues of everyone in this room, and there's a lot more to be done. So, we hear you. Yes.
Good morning. Is it okay to just back up a little bit and just go over?
You mean our approvals are rescinded?
I'm sorry, you only have the concept. So that's actually what I want to talk about,
Sure.
if that's okay. And maybe Michael and I could just kind of come up and give people an overview of the process, because it's kind of obtuse, I might say, and a lot of people don't understand how zoning works. So is that okay if we do that? I think it would be informative for people.
Sure.
Because we're partners.
Absolutely.
Just give them the microphone.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to be a tag team here, Michael and I, but just to give everyone a broad overview, this parcel has very specific zoning. It's called Belllefield. It's a planned development district, and that means that it has a certain requirements and a lot of freedoms, actually, a lot more than other zoning districts. But one of the requirements of the district is 100 acres be developed at each point, during each phase. Is that accurate to say?
Acres developed in the original concept.
Yeah, or at least planned for.
Right.
So that's why Joe and Tom have submitted an amended concept plan, and that actually goes to the town board at this point, because it's at this point a joint project between the town board and the planning board, the review of the project. So with that, I'll just want to make sure that people understand that this is a process and that it will be involved because of the extensive nature of the project and because of the specific zoning. And just one other point that I'd like to mention before I turn it over to Michael is that I have offered a support letter to T-Rex for the infrastructure consolidated funding application that they've submitted. And one of the things that I've been thinking about, because Emily Svensson and I spent a lot of time researching the various grants that are available for sewer, and sadly Hyde Park does not qualify for the major source of funding, which is this Environmental Facilities Corporation funding, because believe it or not, our income is too high, and that's both a great thing and it's a surprising fact. But Hyde Park's income is $74,500, our median income, and to qualify for these low interest loans and grants, you have to have a median income of below $54,000. So that was very disappointing, because you'll be hearing a lot of hype about this as time goes on, that these EFC loans are available and that there's grant money. But we spent over an hour on the phone with representatives of EFC. So that is really not going to be an option for Hyde Park. So what that really says to me is that if we're going to do this sewer thing, we have to find a way to do it ourselves, and hopefully with the help of T-Rex. And we have to be creative there. And you mentioned that we had the prior concept plan included a sewer component, and it might be something that we really should join together on a CFA application. I know it's difficult for this year, but there's different. The way these applications are weighted is based on what types of needs that they fill, and so there's a whole scoring system. So it might very well be that we could work together, because there's already been a lot of work done on the sewer, as many of you know. I was not involved at that time, but many of you were, and there was a report that was filed, and so there's a lot of work that has been done, and perhaps we can work together on that. And so I just wanted to offer that. I'll hand this over to the planning board chair so he can fill you in a little bit more on the process and the details.
Okay, very briefly, because you don't want to hear from me. The process is that they've submitted, I understand.
In the mail.
Thank heavens. We've been discussing this for 4 years, so when it actually starts, Dot, is going to be a little bit of a process still. There's an amended concept plan that has to be approved by the town board. The planning board has to recommend it on it. Bob will know he was on the original concept plan that we approved back in 2007, 2006. 2007. Then once the concept plan is approved, then they come back for site plan approval. The way we worked it before, and I expect it to be the same way here, I have to add, when Tom said there were obstacles, there are no obstacles. We are in this together. We are going to accomplish this. I just don't like that word obstacles, but I know what he's talking about. Because we don't have commercial sewer in the first place, it is harder for us to get things done in Hyde Park. And when a restaurant opens, it has to go through the Department of Health. You all guys all know this, I think, review. At any rate, we're going to work together on this. We'll get it done. Once he gets the concept approval, the site plan approval should actually happen very quickly, because the way we did this before is we front-loaded the process so that their concept actually has a lot of site plan elements to it. The only thing that's going to be kind of, to me, a little bit of a lengthy process is to go through the DEC, because some of the information that was submitted before for the original concept approval is now, the work was done in 2004, this is 2015. The DEC will likely say update it, and Department of Transportation is going to be a big factor in this as well. What they're looking to do in the first phase, though, is what we're going to be focusing on in terms of the town. And you guys know what the first phase is, which is something that we've all wanted for a long time, which is hotels. And I'm not going to denigrate any of our fine motels we have now, but there is a market, we believe, for higher-end, longer-term stays. And particularly when you have that big, beautiful property down there, what they're proposing with the agriculture, the farm-to-table concept, is something that's happening all over the United States. We should be at the forefront of this. We are the home of the Culinary Institute of America. This is something that fits in like a hand in a glove to me for us. So I look forward to actually reviewing everything now that it's been in the mail. I actually kind of yelled at the guys about a month ago saying, do it now! And they did it. So for us, I think that you're looking at probably about 9 months to a year before they can get shovel in the ground. I wish I could say it would be faster. Maybe it can. If we can do anything to spear that, to force that forward, we will. I want to mention that there is, you probably have all read about it, the old psychiatric center. There's a concept plan that's been submitted to the town. I forwarded that to Tom and Joe. Just so you all know, they're still at the very beginning. I just spoke to the town of Poughkeepsie planning board chair yesterday. They have a long way to go. This is actually not that long. I want to assure everybody, this will be in the pipeline first. They've already got approvals. We're just going to amend the concept approval. That's all. Back to you guys. Yes.
When we were talking about this, there was another plan across the street called the, oh shoot, just went out. The club. The club, thank you. Yeah, is there any interest in that, or is that gone?
As far as I know, that plan is sitting there still, yeah.
Sitting there, maybe it's not. Thank you, please do this. I want to see it in my lifetime.
We all do, yeah.
I've been working with these guys.
I've worked on this for 11 years.
Yeah, I've been working with Joe since he.
25, are you kidding?
Yeah.
We knew we needed sewer 30. So many people in here have worked so hard trying to get it, and we almost had it. You talk about the water, I could tell you stories.
Well, one of the ideas they were alluding to is original concept as part of the mitigation to level the playing field, so to speak, was that there would be a sewer district going all the way up Route 9 to Market Street, and, up to the Vanderbilt estate. And that the cost of that is prohibitive in this economy right now. So we'll be looking at alternatives to that. Bob Baxter is here, has an approved proposal for a medical office suite where he has a sewage treatment plant already approved as well with the discharge point. That could be expanded. Yes. And the town, thanks to Supervisor Rohr and Councilwoman Svensson, we have a grant that will include a feasibility study for doing a small a decentralized sewer system. That starts pretty soon. Yeah, Aileen, you know more than me.
to do a pre-development for the areas surrounding Pine Woods, and that includes a sewer study, traffic study, a market analysis, and traffic improvements. So one of the obstacles or challenges of obtaining grant money is just building kind of building your case for it, and that has to start with an engineering study where you identify how you're going to do this project. So that's what we're hoping to come out of this grant with. It's been a very slow process, unfortunately, dealing with New York State, but their representative will be coming in August, early August, I think August 6th. We're going to work through the details. We're going through the contract signing now, and it's interesting because any projects involving New York State are very public. There's a very big component of participation. So we will be looking for members of the chamber to be on this committee that is studying this this pre-development work. So how that might relate to this project is that, again, this concept of this centralized sewer that goes all the way from St. Andrews to East Market, it's become dated and it's limiting because of the expense, especially when a sewer project is paid for by the users. It's not paid for by the general taxpayers. So each user is assigned a benefit unit, and to make that cost affordable, you need a lot of users. You need a lot of benefit assessments. And the prior concept where we had this long sewer, if anyone is, of course, we're all familiar with the layout of Route 9, there's a lot of empty space because of the National Park Service, and so making that all worked in terms of money, that's the challenge. And I think what's interesting to me is that there is kind of a concept floating around that your project included a sewer for the town, but paid for by you, but that really wasn't the exact way it was going to work. That the original concept, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you were involved, Joe, that the system that you would be paying additional benefit units to kind of defray the total cost of the sewer for the other users, and that's the way it was designed, as I understand, and that you were going to be building the plant and the collection system. So the reality wasn't exactly that it was going to be a low or a free sewer. We have to make sure everybody realizes that, but you were going to be eating a lot of the costs and absorbing those. And again, that is the challenge of sewer. It has to be paid for by the customers, and finding an affordable way to do that is what's difficult, and making it so that businesses who are on Route 9 can say, yeah, I can pay that cost. And we have to find, what we're doing is we're working on establishing what the cost would be, and then finding grant monies that will fill in the cost so we can bring it down to an affordable level. So that's how it may work. That's how it did work. I don't know if you have any additions.
If, my experience from the previous initiatives, it's probably wise to spend a lot of time at the front end of this on the formation of a sewer district. And there's really three phases of it. There's the formation, there's the construction, and then there's the ongoing operation. With the formation really being something to give a lot of thought to. If you think of the Route 9 corridor and trying to form a series of sewer districts, you've got to get a collection of property owners to all have a meeting of the mind to get those efficiencies to make the things feasible. And just looking back, as the supervisor referenced, there are certain properties and sizable properties on Route 9 being, the FDR site, the drive-in site. You have the vacant shopping center, which is by design, given the leasehold situations there. They just put a new upgraded sewer system, so they may not be interested. So if you sort of break this down block by block, property by property, and to really spend a lot of time at the front end of this, exactly what distances are these things going to cover, and exactly what properties are going to be in them. And then I think the economics will take care of themselves, and either make sense or they won't. And it's I think in the previous iterations it was just too ambitious. The world was a lot different, but.
That's are all excellent points. So I'm not sure if I was clear. So this in the discussion about the CFA grant, but we're focusing on the area from essentially Copola's up to Parker as part of that particular grant application. But what really I think makes sense for our town is from Copola's up to Market Street, and the mechanics of how you put those together, because that is where the density is, that is where we're looking for sewer, that's where we want it. And that stretch really all the way from the drive-in down to Stop and Shop, it's not quite, it makes the challenge of all that additional costs, how do you pay for that? So, maybe, as I said, if we can work together and creatively to envision a decentralized sewer, and maybe there's mitigation that you could provide to us in terms of building this sewer, a sewer not necessarily connected to your plant. I think we need to be very open, creative, and work together on getting sewer in the areas that we're targeting it for. And so it might not be a revisiting of the exact project that was proposed before, but instead a new project based on new technology and clearer identified needs.
Yeah, I think that was very, very well said, and it's certainly our goal to work with the town, to work with property owners, and for the collective good. And there is yes, John. Sure.
On the original project, there was supposed to be a 10-acre parcel dedicated to the culinary. Is that still true?
Yes. It's what referred to as a 10-acre parcel that has 130,000 square feet that was tax exempt. The rest of the project would be taxable, and that particular parcel, that allocation of square footage was specifically intended for the Culinary Institute to build a continuing education facility that would serve their graduate students as well as the food enthusiasts that would come up and take the cooking courses. But the rest of this property will be taxable.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Probably maybe not the last one, but when you put the shovel in the ground, I'm hoping that you check with the Chamber of Commerce to utilize any of the valuable assets that we might have, like the Baxter's construction, or DNS electrical people. They're more than capable of doing what you're going to be needing.
Feedback. Yep. Yes.
I understand that you're really not to answer this question, but in 9 to 10 months, once you get the approval process going, what is your time frame in your mind for different phases to be rolled out?
Please repeat.
The second phase is a bit too speculative at this point, to be fair. I mean, we're confident if we get this started with the first phase, the rest of this will take care of itself over time. And then, eventually the residential components will come online as we create a sense of place.
Clarification, your side maybe, Joe. The tax exempt status, doesn't it really reside with the culinary applying for that? That doesn't really reside on that 10 acres today? Or does it?
Sure. It was intended for the culinary. I mean, that was the intent of the finding statement. The culinary as an institution is throughout that document. So again, that's something we would Yeah, we'd have,
Clarification on what you're paying today for taxes, is that based on the entire property, or is that 10 acres not?
no, we are,
paying taxes?
what we are paying for today is
I
basically,
know you're paying the water thing.
we're paying a water, of the 200,
10 acre parcel, is that currently paying taxes or not?
it's hard to, what do you, I don't, it is? Yeah, I would,
That's my understanding, it
yeah.
currently is, and until the culinary makes an application to the state of New York, that will remain taxable.
Yeah, right now, the property is taxed as a single parcel of 339 acres. So there's no delineation between tax and tax exempt. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry, just fine.
Okay, this is a suggestion, and it's gonna cost you absolutely nothing. Please, when you build these buildings, make them an earth tone color. Think of the color of the Vanderbilt. Think of the color of the Mills Mansion. They're not white, they blend in. The culinary can help you with this because they do the study on each building that they build. So please, earth tone colors.
Yeah. Okay.
Just, we've been really talking to a lot of people locally here, and we've employed, almost everyone on our entire team outsourced is local. There's no one coming from, outside of that feasibility study, because we needed an objective outside of the market that was in Ohio. Everyone else, Chazen, Cutter, I mean, everyone else is local here, and we're very cognizant of that. I mean, Joe's name is on Town Hall as a Little League All-Star, so.
Stop.
But as far as the term, we've also met with Scenic Hudson, Ned Sullivan, and he has a whole book on Hudson Valley developments, and our architects have that. Locally, we're using Mike McCormick's firm as the architect of record. He's well aware of Scenic Hudson and everyone that really is involved with that. So we're not going to come in here and build a psychedelic Disney town.
Purple.
We're very, purple. Okay. But it's a good question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.